In this fresh episode, I link a house purchase to a video game company, and from there, the moon. It starts like this. I have a secret to share with you. I call it a secret because if you go to the official ANKR forums and search for this phrase and click that search button, there are precisely 0 matches for 2 critical key terms. And you know what? These are my favorite kind of episodes. It starts with a simple question like, why are these keywords missing from the subreddit? And then the next thing you know, you're into something really, unusual. If you need to know what we're getting into, it involves ANKR, the Unreal Engine, Godot, and the Unity engine. Ready? I sure am. Let's start this. Welcome to Unusual Due Diligence. I'm your host Poseidon, God of the Sea. In today's fresh episode, I share with you a set of keywords that no one has apparently written about on the official ANKR subreddit, and then from those, we take an even deeper dive into the penetrating depths of the sea. What words? 2 words, and spelled different ways. First, Game SDK, and then Gaming SDK. If you think this is about gaming NFTs, it's not. You see, if you're thinking NFT and games are today's topic, well, I will say that this is not quite the episode you think it is. We are going so deep. First though, let's go back to the beginning. If you navigate over to the ANKR Careers website, then once you arrive there, you'll discover a pretty wide set of different careers and jobs that are made available by this up-and-coming Web3 company. I've covered before on this channel unusual ways to look at their data center facility jobs, and I know you've seen hints at a gaming developer to build games or some such on the ANKR platform, and that's where we're beginning today. On the screen is the specific expansion ANKR has about their gaming project. It is, quote, ANKR would like to build its own gaming dev environment, plus platform via combining various services it has built, including but not limited to editor, resources layer, GPU rendering, and etc. The ideal gaming engine that candidates are familiar with should be Unity, Unreal, or Godot, end quote. So that sounds interesting. Let's unravel this. First off, what does ANKR do? Well, it provides access to a Web3 environment. And for sure, right now, the gaming movement is having a vigorous conversation about where games and cryptocurrencies, where those 2 worlds best align. Even this channel has a game. It's called ANKR It Up, which I had built as part of the video about ANKR Cloud Infrastructure. You can play it for free. It's a simple web game. If you want to know where, the link is in the description below, but it's also on the unusualdd.com website. Looking at ANKR, we know that it provides access to all things Web3, and now the claim is to, quote, build its own gaming dev environment as well as platform, end quote, by combining services. This part is a little odd to me, as a God of the Sea has put a lot of time into Unity, meaning, quote, not limited to editor, resources, GPU rendering, end quote. Why in the world would ANKR have its own rendering pipeline? I say that looking over a specific bit of technology called the nanite renderer, on the assumption not many people have dug into the finer bits of the Unreal Engine. Allow me to explain. The nanite renderer is the newer rendering pipeline released in version 5 of that engine, the Unreal Engine. What that rendering pipeline allows you to do as an artist, at least this is the selling point, is to build any geometry that you can imagine and just slap it into the game cartridge and then magic happens. The Unreal Engine, similar to the Unity engine, both invest enormous amounts of money and time into the development of their rendering pipeline. So I don't believe ANKR is investing in that. It'd be absurd to build a new game engine from scratch because you're only then competing with 2 established players with enormous ecosystems and also their gaming deals. What if the intent of that career posting isn't about building a custom game engine, but a custom something else? What would that be? I just hinted at it, but allow me to take us even deeper into the sea. What is a gaming dev environment, and how does that relate to rendering pipelines? Let's ask that question. It is too vague of a question to answer meaningfully, but we can draw out some key bits of information that we will need to go 1 layer deeper. Grab your popcorn. Based on the analysis so far, I've concluded that simply does not make sense for ANKR to become a game engine provider, and yet the claim is to build a gaming dev environment that's familiar with these rendering pipelines. So what does that mean? This line item in the series provides the clear missing ingredient that's going to open us up to an even bolder conversation. Here's how it reads. Quote, design, code, and implement ANKR's Game SDK / platform - integrate blockchains with Unity, Unreal, Godot game engine, end quote. Allow me to unravel that briefly. ANKR is looking to build a game software development kit, which is the coding environment for a developer. That is, the gaming dev environment mentioned in the job description is actually in reference to this game software development kit. I am going to start drawing out these connections for you because it is quite interesting. We'll start with the game SDK. That's what we call a software development kit. On the screen, we start with the ANKR Gaming SDK. What do we know about this? Well, we know that it interfaces with the game engine rendering pipelines. This episode runs a risk of revealing a bit too much about Poseidon, but I'm going to roll the dice so this community can see what I see. Let's ask this question. What is a game engine really? Well, a game engine is made up of blocks in a simplified view. Some sort of graphics are involved, audio or background music and sound effects, and often some networking components. In today's world, that also includes some level of artificial intelligence and procedural systems. Let's just put all that in another bucket called other systems. So let's look on the screen and review the job description. The job is to build out a game software development kit that interfaces with these aspects in some way. And yet, what does that mean? Let's look at this quote. Quote, work with/build APIs and microservices to deliver full game experience. End quote. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. The ANKR Game SDK is expected to leverage API and new microservices, or likely combine existing ones. So to work with an API that's clearly going to tap into the networking side. So let's extend our diagram just a bit. A microservice is actually cloaked like you'd wear a blanket in the wintertime with an API. This is a revealing bit of information because it allows us now to add on these new blocks to our diagram. There isn't one microservice, but many. You know, I told myself I wouldn't make another ANKR video this weekend. For my AMP token, Algorand, Solana, and other holding fans, I know. I'll be chatting about those soon, but you just have to follow me with this one. It's great. Okay, so on the screen is an expansion of our networking block over to an API that calls different microservices. Now, is there any hint at what ANKR intends to do with these services? Well, viewer, yes. Yes, there is. For starters, we can see the two dominant languages used by the microservices and the main API are Go, Lang, and Node.js. Quote, understand how to write backend API using code, Node.js. End quote. So we know the majority of the tech stack is likely one or both of these. Let's add those boxes. We'll need them in a moment. Let's continue to unravel this. This line is interesting. It's an EVM Solidity and Polkadot substrate. What are those? Well, these are the software development kits, so to speak, of two potent blockchain solutions. One is Ethereum, which makes sense with ANKR token being an Ethereum-based token, and Solidity is a smart contract language one uses on an EVM, or Ethereum virtual machine. Polkadot substrate is a little unusual. It's where one launches a full blockchain. It solves the problem of building blockchains. What's interesting about Polkadot substrate is that you can write your blockchain language in any language that can compile to WebAssembly. I'm getting pretty deep here. Let's just note these and keep going. So we'll swim up a level by putting one extra piece in place here, which is, quote, ability to use Web3 tech stack, end quote. What is the Web3 tech stack? Well, it depends on who you ask, but in concept, I feel most people can agree it relates to the ability to interact with blockchain services. That's an interesting one to me, and I'll explain by way of an example. If you navigate to the unusualdd.com website, there you'll find a button. The button will allow you to connect a wallet to the site. What is that about? What that does is provide the user an option, once they connect their wallet, to buy me, Poseidon, a coffee. But let's chat briefly about how that works. You see, what that uses under the hood is the Web3 stack. It's not just one library, it's more a portfolio of SDKs that all interact to enable something completely wild. It's possible to send Poseidon money for a coffee without going through a bank or financial payment provider or anything. That is pretty remarkable. For now, let's just put this Web3 shape on our diagram, and then turn our attention to this SDK. So, do you remember this line? Quote, integrate blockchains with Unity/Unreal/Go.game engine, end quote. No doubt you're shaking your head going, oh, that's what Poseidon was just talking about. And you'd be completely right. But let's take this further. So this is not a question about what game engine to do. It is a statement about where the integration needs to occur. So let's add those to our diagram here. Let's call them game engine platforms, because these aren't just game engines, not anymore. These are full-on platforms. For example, a lot of B-roll footage I use on this channel is actually produced in Unity. Okay, so on the screen we have these three platforms listed out. Now what's so interesting about that? Well, what is interesting is the development ecosystem of each of these. Unless you're familiar with the gaming industry in detail, you may not know about these niche marketplaces. The Unity Asset Store is a lucrative place for individuals to provide good solutions. For example, it's not unusual for top sellers on the Unity Asset Store to clear over 30,000 USD a month. Holy cow. Even more impressive are the financial year 2021 results, where Unity cleared in over $1 billion for their operating financial year. I'd say this to say that these game engine platforms have a lot of money in them. So let's look at our puzzle. We have an ANKR gaming SDK that calls APIs around blockchain-based APIs, and the target is to push this SDK onto these three marketplaces. You know what's fun about this diagram is that this part kind of looks like Poseidon's trident, but okay, what is the market exposure for ANKR to provide this SDK? Meaning, who are they really reaching? This is a fun question. What brand names have deals with these game engines? Godot is a community-based engine. There's a tremendous amount of open source code there, and it isn't clear to me what tier 1 clients might be using it. According to some web sleuthing, their market share is less than 0.01% of the market. However, if you dig into their news, you'll discover Godot has received a grant recently, a grant from Meta. Yes, the same Facebook billion-dollar giant Meta. Unity Engine has a similar problem to the Unreal Engine, where those two giants are literally just their respective markets. Now, what do I mean by this? Consider these stats of Unity Engine. 5 billion downloads per month of apps are made with Unity. 72% of the top 1,000 games? Yeah, also made with Unity. 50% of console games across mobile, PC, and well, just consoles at large? Yeah, made with Unity. So let's drop these stats into our flow diagram. Now, Unreal Engine has a tremendous number of games as well. For example, I'm sure you've heard of Fortnite. But less known is how often Unreal Engine is used in film and Hollywood. Did you know over 160 major motion pictures and episodic TV shows use the Unreal Engine? This channel doesn't. I'd pretty much need to be doing this channel full time to even think about using the Unreal Engine in my workflow. That said, let's put this graphic on the chart. But wait, someone might ask, why would ANKR be interested in film? Isn't this just about games? Well, do you recall how Chandler's song moved to Hollywood? I'm not saying ANKR has a longer-term aspiration to get into film and Hollywood somehow, but it's worth noting that there is certainly a bridge being built here. When you look at the broader picture here, there certainly appears to be a link between a house purchase, a video game company, and quite possibly the moon. We're up on time today, the most precious resource. Will this impact the value of the ANKR token? When will the gaming SDK start getting talked about on the official subreddit? Those questions remain to be answered, but I do know this. This is Unusual Due Diligence. In today's fresh episode, we built a bridge from microservice APIs all the way to Hollywood by way of the ANKR SDK. Make some waves, and maybe some video games, my friend.